You said you want Nigeria to be restructured. The Futajelon Gambari occupiers are saying no, they don't want any restructure. You are dancing on the streets. Nigeria is decayed, is rotting, it has totally decayed and is finished. Only Kano alone have more representatives than the whole of the so-called South. They looked at us, our eyes after creating Boko Haram. They set up Northeast Development Commission. And do you know what? 3% of all VAT go to Northeast Development Commission. 3%. They don't owe any money. The oil companies, this is statutory. It's in their own constitution. It's in their own laws. They are not obeying their laws. You say you are a German. You are Iceland. You are Bermuda. You are this. You are Greenland. That's squirrel you drink. Listen, that's squirrel you drink, squadron you drink. 3% of every sachet of squirrel you drink, every bottle of squirrel you drink, big or small, goes to develop Boko Haram infected Northeast. That Chelsea you drink, you say you are a Degban, Daywell, you are KK, Ku Klux Klan, and whatever you call yourself, you are a Norseman. That money goes straight to 3% of it goes straight to Northeast Development Commission. See, my brothers and sisters, that Naira belt you play, that Naira belt you are playing, one want to cut me. That pool you are playing, 3% of it, VAT, goes to develop Northeast. NDDC is not being paid. My brothers, get sense. The only solution for us as Calabar people, as a job people, is to team together with the Ogonis, team together with the Igbos, team together with the Hefiks, and reinvent Biafra. Nobody can oppress a young man in Biafra. They never born him. Than for us to waste our time. If you can cooperate with everybody to do restructure, but when it comes to demanding for your total freedom, seek ye first the political kingdom. Seek ye first the political kingdom, and all others will be added unto you. There will be no Samara, because you will control your oil. You will own your oil. Let us not deceive ourselves. Let us not deceive ourselves. It is not going to work except we stand up and fight Biafra. Fight for Biafra. Anybody talking about restructure is an enemy of our people. Anybody talking about Niger Delta Republic is an enemy of our people. They are working for the Sultan of Sokoto. They are working for this dead, evil, satanic Nigeria. We must be free. Biafra. Biafra must be free, and there's nothing you can do about it. The time has come for our freedom.
You think the North is not underdeveloped as well? Because you have not visited this place. If anybody has a reason to run away from Nigeria, we are the ones, because they are killing us. Do you understand? We have a lot of insecurity in Nigeria, and yet we are still staying. Doesn't that say something to you? It is not because we are getting the larger share of Nigerians' cake. That is not true. If you have a good governor, your governor will work for you. I am not jealous of your problem. You went to go and choose wicked and very selfish leaders, and that's why you are where you are. I'll give you one state, for example, Gombe State. Gombe State was created how many years after Adamawa? But Gombe State is more developed than Adamawa because they had a good governor. Danko Boabi was that man's name. He was really a very good governor. If you have good governors, your state will work. If you have stupid governors, your state will not work. And federal allocation and all of those things, they say, oh, Northerners are the ones that we are plenty. If you have one wife has 6 children, the other one has 2 children. If you want to give something, you pick one from that side and pick 3 from the other side. It is equal. If you want to compete with the north, born plenty children too. Do you understand? Born plenty, and then we'll now see you. I don't know how people used to think, honestly, but honestly, bad governance is what has kept Nigeria the way they are, and northerners are not your problems. Northerners are only getting what they should get because they have higher population. From Adamawa now, we are not as plenty as those in Kano. So if any federal allocation comes, they'll give more to Kano because Kano people are more in number. Do you understand? You cannot compare Kano to Bayelsa that have very small. All of these things. Habanam. We are one Nigeria.
Colonialism in Nigeria has not ended. It has only taken a new dimension. It has only taken a new shape. Okay? There's something we call settler colonialism. What is it? This is when outsider comes to stay in your land, not to live, not to do their business, not to go about their normal business, but they want to dominate. They want to dominate your land. They want to dominate your politics. They want to influence your politics. They want to influence your economy. And they also want to influence your culture. Right here in Nigeria, we have seen this played out in Yoruba land. We have seen cases where non-Yorubas want to outnumber, they want to outpower the indigenous people of their land. We have seen cases where these non-Yorubas, they want to hijack the politics of Yoruba land. We have also seen cases where when these indigenous people, when they resist, all of these things, they tag them bigots and tribalists. Now let's ask ourselves a question. Is this what they call peaceful coexistence? We cannot coexist peacefully with this kind of ideology. People who have this kind of ideology does not coexist peacefully with their host community. And what they want to do, their intention is to create a system where they can displace the indigenous people on their land.
It's very difficult to define an agenda for the ministry. What we should define is the purpose for which any organization that's formed should pursue. Where I'm trying to tell you that there's a lot of confusion in the concept of development of the Niger Delta. You've got the amnesty program. You've got NDDC. You've got 13% derivation. Now you have the Ministry of Niger Delta. All those came about because when we start one thing, we find it is inadequate. We start another one, we find it is inadequate, and so we keep going, and yet we can't focus. I believe that ultimately, so it's sometimes good to start from the end to come back to the beginning. Ultimately, the answer lies in total resource control. And I don't see how anybody can oppose that. If we had our resources, and nobody was stealing our oil as being done now, for goodness sake, the Niger Delta region would develop. But let's take them one by one. You see, you set up NDDC. I was there when NDDC was being set up by our president at the time. And I made a suggestion to the president. I said, look, you don't need a big bureaucracy. Just a few people in the presidency, 3, 4, 5, no more. At the end of the month, come and tell me, just as you do at FAC, how much is allocated to my state as a result of this NDDC thing. I will bring up projects to you. So don't think that I want to spend your money for you, or because it is my money or it's the region's money. I'll bring projects to you. You award the contract if you want to be the contract awarding body. And I will supervise and make sure that those contracts are executed. And I thought by that method we will cut down the bureaucracy, the system will run smoothly, and at every month, just as you give money to the state to go and from fact to go and develop those regions, I will bring projects to you. And there'll be supervision. And all these questions of abandoned projects and so on would not occur. But the president said, maybe it's better we set up a different organization. Okay, so an organization was set up. We went to see the first chairman of that organization, NDDC. And we tried to put to him a system whereby this thing could be run so that it will smooth and run smoothly. And a very strange thing happened at that meeting. The chairman looked at us and said, look, I think we are talking across purposes here. And I will quote him. He said, the man who sent me here asked me to come and empower his supporters. Now, if that's the purpose of the NDDC, how can he develop the Niger Delta region? It is there to empower the person or the supporters of those who created the institution. You leave that, you start the amnesty program, when none of this was working, I will say this now openly. I wrote a memo when President Jonathan brought up the idea of, or before that, there was this idea of having an organization to bring out a program for the region. And that program that committee was headed by Lidum Meeting. I wrote a paper in and said, look, what the British government did after the Second World War was to create new towns. At the time I wrote that paper, I could name 22 new towns that have been created already in Britain. And Gordon Brown, Prime Minister, they was talking about green towns, further new towns. We're going to do 12 green towns. I said, let's use the concept of new towns to develop the Niger Delta region. We could have a new town. The only new town I know in Nigeria effectively is Abuja. But that was done even without a new town policy. That's why Wike is having problems today, because every minister that comes does whatever he likes because there's no policy. I said, let's develop a new towns policy and use that policy to develop, at least to start with 4 new towns in the Niger Delta region. We could have created a new town in Ogoniland. We could have created a new town in Bayelsa based on fishing. We could have created a new town in Akwa Ibom alongside the Bakassi port that we're proposing. And we could have recreated Warri into a new town. I said, at least let's start with those 4. But if you are going to do this, if you are serious about developing the Niger Delta region, you must have a ministry. This Federal Capital Territory could not have been what it is if we were depending on the Federal Ministry of Works to give it roads, or Federal Ministry of Health to give it health facilities, or Federal Ministry of Education to give it educational facilities. Create a ministry properly funded. Now here, Momo saying you want to encourage him to transform the Niger Delta region. He cannot do it unless there's enough in the budget for him to do it. So there'll be a budget that will provide for works, for health, for education, for social amenities, all the other infrastructure that we need to develop a region. But that's not happening. Today, there's a fight between NDDC and Amnesty Program about who should be awarding scholarships, who should be giving scholarships. We just have not defined what we want to do. And there's a need to define it. But ultimately, whatever we are doing is just ad hoc. The ultimate answer is in full and total resource control. I'll tell you something. People who oppose this resource control, they tell me they are Christians. And ask them, did they not read the story of the man who found hidden treasure under a field and he sold everything he had to go and buy that field? It's because he knew that whatever is under that ground, so long as the ground belongs to him. But in Nigeria, we want to say that the oil in our soil, it doesn't belong to us. It belongs to everybody. So everybody comes and steals it away. It does not happen that way. We have to accept fully the concept of resource control, acknowledge the fact that what is yours, but you share it. Because that's the concept of a nation or even a country.
Almost 2 weeks now, I've been battling with NECO. Their insistence to go on revenue mobilization, which I think legitimately we are right to do it. But I look at the timing and I told them that this was not a good time for Nigeria. And so they should exercise it. They told me they would send the matter to our minister. I said, no problem. Go ahead, inform your minister. Fortunately, the minister and myself engaged. The matter moved beyond myself and the minister. Higher. And I went and still explained why I want them to give us some lift. I want to take this clearly. I am not preventing people from taking revenue. All I have stated is that we have just ended our fasting, our Ramadan. And if the following week we are praying for power, you want to generate revenue from us, it will be difficult. And looking at the Muslim population, it's about 90% in Cameroon. And so I appeal to them to extend the time to this month ending, when most of the government workers have paid salaries. Are you with me? And that is where we have reached. But they also raised a matter of concern that I think I need to let you know. They made it clear of some people engaging in illegal connection. And I want to say clearly that I will not condone with illegalities.
Hi, welcome back. Oh my, this thing don't delay funny sha, because as I read the combo, na person will be saying they funny na him be, because in they normally they confuse. Even as in they talk, so if they don't give them everything want, he go come up body go join those people wey be say they talk against. Now so it just be we everybody know. Although most of wetin they talk na right thing when they talk, but when they talk and now be say the funds where they with them, it don't finish. Now why they cry up and down line now. Although normally wetin don't talk with them, na normal thing when they talk, but if to say they normally come back and talk all this thing at normal time, it will make sense. But all this thing when they talk now, when your money don't share, now they come out they talk. If not everybody knows that okay, northern people that they don't say that they use southern as head, we be say okay that the oil we be say even belong to the northern. Most of the thing we suppose they for the south. Now in them they develop their own region. And also if you look at the other lady we be say in talk for the way in talk say na the northern or the southern, instead that the southern leaders na them they bad, so make southerners not to put any blame on northerners. See, make them calm down for that one. Although we know say okay, some northern people then they try, but not the way they put them. Even as we see them they try, you know, say okay, most of the thing goes to them, so them will use that opportunity now to do whatever thing we see them like to do. If this thing we be saying they go to their side now happens to come to south side, think say okay, south not go they develop the way them they for their side, though they're not to develop shall, and how it's really light owner. And the only thing we be say okay, if we take una we be say na be Niger Delta as out of this mess, now be when they don't join hand together with people will be saying then go pity una now, that time where una go get pity. That's when it just be.